Hello, all you wonderful people. It's me, Kelly. So, I want to talk about something today that I deal with and have dealt with for a long time, and it deals with a mental health issue. But it stems from the abuse that I suffered as a kid. So, and it deals with not being able to complete anything or very little in my life, especially when it comes to big things. And this comes from Um, as I mentioned before, being told as a child that I was useless, I was stupid, I would never amount to anything. Um, so through my life, I've kind of had this modus operandi of I'd start something and I'd do real well in it, but then when it came time to complete it, I wouldn't do it. Um, did this a lot with education, a lot of things in my life, and it not only did I let myself down, but I let a lot of other people down around me. And so I think it's something important to talk about because I'm sure there's others out there who have done the same thing, and you may not realize that this is a trauma response. Yeah, so it's the first time I think I really recognized it was I was in the military at the time. I was an X-ray tech, and I was doing very well. Just did very well in the job. I actually was the NCIC in the department very quickly, without a lot of experience, and I did pretty well at it. And I got involved with a lot of trauma cases, got to learn a lot, do a lot, and I was actually, kind of getting ahead of everybody in my career, and it was kind of cool, and I loved it. And I had been talked to by several physicians about becoming a PA, and the ortho PA wanted me to apply, and he was going to recommend the ortho PA program for me. And I was excited at first, because it was like, wow, that would be cool. That is something I would really like to do. I think I can do it. But, over time, all of that, you know, came back to me from a childhood. No, you can't do it. You're not smart enough. You can't do it. Don't even try. And I started getting those thoughts. And as I was putting my packet together to apply for the program, it just overpowered me. And I got scared. And I thought, I can't do this. It's not for me. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough now. So I started making excuses not to go. And, it just, and I'm sure I fooled no one. But, it fooled, at least, I bought him for a little bit, sort of. And, so I gave up a dream. And, it's sad because had I known really what I know now, I would have overcome that. At the same time, even though I was, here I'm in charge of the department, I'm on a trauma team, I'm getting all these accolades. At the same time, I didn't want to go take the national test for X-ray techs because I was afraid I wasn't good enough and I couldn't pass. So I never went and did it, and I never got my certification or my licensing for becoming an X-ray tech. So when I got out of the military, I couldn't get a job in the field. At the time, this was back in the early mid '90s, and it was very much sought after, and I could have made decent money back then, but because of that trauma and my inability to work through it, I passed up a huge opportunity there as well. And again, I made excuses. It's sad. It really is. Because, again, I gave up, a lot of money, a good future for myself and my kids, and I struggled afterwards. So these are all things that I'm pointing out about myself because I hope that you can say, hey, you know what? I kind of do that too. Man, I need to talk to somebody about that because you need to. Again, I'm not a therapist, so don't go off of everything I say, but definitely, talk to somebody, talk to a professional. Um, I've done the same with education. It's like, I get started and it's like, oh, I'm not smart enough. Oh, I'm not gonna, or I get finished and it's like, I'm not smart enough, so I really don't deserve this. So I never get the certifications, even though I've completed everything. And it's crazy, and it's, again, it's my response to what I was told as a kid. And it's, I've let a lot of people down because of it, because it's, oh yeah, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to go do this, and it was my former spouses, my kids, and then I don't do it. And then on top of it, I make excuses, and they don't understand it because, they really don't know what's going on inside of my head. And they just think, oh, Kelly's just giving up again. And, it's not fair to them either. But, it's something I'm working through, and it's going to take time, but, it's worth it. And again, it's just something that I'm, unable to overcome myself. I have to get help. And that's why, I'm bringing this up because it's not something that's that easy to deal with. It's that subconscious mind is going to overpower every time. And that's something that gets built into the subconscious. So if you do find yourself doing stuff like that, saying, I really don't deserve that, or I'm not good enough, you know, you talk to somebody because you need to, because you are good enough, and I was that way through my whole military career. Um, just being trans and being in the military was challenging, especially back then. I couldn't talk to anybody about it. I had to hide it. Um, Even though I did my job, I received numerous awards, decorations, medals for, exemplary service. I never felt like I was good enough because I was trans. Because behind the scenes, I was something different. And that bothered me because I felt like I was less than all the other troops. Um, yeah, I struggled with that, even 20 plus years dealing with that, and I never really got over it. Today, I'm proud of my service, and it doesn't, now I look back at it and it's like, that was, who cares, but back then it did bother me. Each day I'd go in and it was like, man, I hope nobody finds out. That was my whole thing all day long. And oh my God, did I get all the makeup off? Did I forget something? Is there any little bit of nail polish? It's like, worrying about that stuff constantly. And, it was tough because I had that going on personally, and then professionally I'm dealing with all the stress at work. And yeah, plus feeling, like I wasn't good enough. And it was it was challenging, and it was a struggle. Um, I guess the only thing I could say to that is don't ever think you're less than. Um, Being trans, there's nothing wrong with it. There's so much material out there now of scientific studies of different proteins and chemicals that we know. Biological sex is determined almost immediately, and the brain doesn't form until much later. And there's things that happen, and we know that there are genetic markers that can be altered and changed that changes the mental or the brain, gender, sex, and the biological. So you can have some incongruence, and it's proven. Trust the science, follow the science. It's not it's not a choice. You know, for 99.99% of it, it is not a choice. There's genetic issues that they're finding. You know, there's also some issues with protein. It's in the most recent study with proteins and the levels during gestation period at certain periods, whether that has an influence or not. And I know that was backed up by a second study that shows the same results. And I think they're going to do a third, fourth, and fifth study on that one as well. So, you know, don't let anybody tell you otherwise, all right? You know, you are valid. You are real. Being trans is not a mental illness. Yeah, you know, so don't ever feel less than, because you know you're a perfectly created human being, and we have no clue whatsoever what the human mind is capable of. I mean, it's where scientists are blown away every day by what the mind is capable of doing, and we will never know its full capabilities. And you know, that's you too. We will never know your full capabilities. So don't ever, you know, look down upon yourself. Don't let anybody put you down as being less than, because you aren't. You know, I don't even care if you have some type of mental deficiency. You know, you're still gifted in something. You know, so don't ever think that. And I'm going to cut it short. I hope you are having a great day. I hope the rest of your day is phenomenal. Be good to yourselves. Be good to others. You know, take a moment to stop and compliment somebody. You know, let's just be good to each other. I care. I love you. I just want good for you. Again, reach out. You know, if there's something you want me to talk about, if there's something you need me to clarify, please let me know. And any of your feedback is welcome. I'm just here trying to, you know, do good for others. And I hope, you know, to make a difference. You guys take care.